My name is Daniel, and for most of my life, I believed that success belonged to people who were simply luckier than me. I worked at a small electronics repair shop in a crowded part of the city. Every day looked exactly the same. I woke up late, rushed out of the house without breakfast, spent hours fixing phones and laptops, then came home exhausted. And what did I do after that? Nothing important. I lay on my bed, scrolling through social media, watching random videos, promising myself that tomorrow I would start doing something meaningful. Tomorrow never came. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into years. My friends started moving forward in life. Some started businesses, some went back to school, others built careers they were proud of. Meanwhile, I stayed exactly where I was. One evening, after closing the shop, my boss handed me a broken phone and said, "Daniel, you've been here for 3 years. Have you ever thought about what you really want to do with your life?" I laughed it off. I'm fine where I am. But the truth was, I wasn't. That night, I got home and dropped onto my couch like usual. My phone was already in my hand, ready for another long night of meaningless scrolling. Then, something strange happened. The battery died. The screen went black. For the first time in a long while, I was forced to sit in silence. I looked around my tiny apartment. Clothes on the chair, empty snack wrappers on the table, dishes piled in the sink. It felt like my entire life was stuck in pause. And suddenly, I asked myself a question I had been avoiding for years. How did I end up like this? The answer slowly became clear. It wasn't because I was unlucky. It wasn't because I lacked talent. It was because of my habits. Every single day, I was choosing comfort instead of growth, scrolling instead of learning, sleeping instead of improving, complaining instead of acting. My future wasn't controlled by fate. It was controlled by the small things I did every day. That realization hit me harder than any motivational speech ever could. So I made a decision. Not a big dramatic one, just a small one. The next morning, I woke up 30 minutes earlier than usual. At first, it felt horrible. My body wanted to stay in bed. My mind told me it didn't matter. But I forced myself to get up. I made a cup of coffee and sat at the kitchen table with a notebook. For the first time in years, I wrote down something simple. Today, I will improve one thing. That day, I watched a free online lesson about electronics design. Just 20 minutes. It didn't feel like much, but it was something. The next day, I did it again, and the day after that. Soon, it became part of my routine. Wake up early, learn something new, write down one goal for the day. Then, I added another small habit. I started exercising for 10 minutes every evening. Just 10 minutes. No gym membership, no complicated workouts, just push-ups, stretches, and a short walk outside. At first, it felt pointless, but slowly, things began to change. My energy improved. My mind felt sharper. I started focusing better at work. A few months later, my boss noticed something. "You're getting faster with these repairs," he said. "Did you learn something new?" I smiled. "Just a few things online." What he didn't know was that those small daily lessons had turned into hundreds of hours of learning. One habit led to another. I started reading books about technology and business. I reduced my social media time. Instead of wasting evenings, I practiced repairing more complicated devices. Within a year, something incredible happened. I opened my own small repair service from home. At first, I only had a few customers, but my reputation slowly grew. Why? Because I had built something powerful: consistency. 2 years later, I moved into a bigger workspace and hired my first employee. Sometimes people ask me, "Daniel, what was the moment your life changed?" They expect me to talk about the day I opened my business or the day I made my first big profit. But the truth is very different. My life changed the morning I decided to wake up 30 minutes earlier. That tiny decision changed my habits, and my habits changed my future. Today, I always tell people something simple. Success is not controlled by motivation. Motivation comes and goes.
Success is controlled by habits, because habits shape your days, and your days shape your life. If your daily habits are weak, your future will be weak. But if your daily habits are strong, your future becomes unstoppable. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a huge opportunity. You just need one decision. Start with one habit. Protect it. Repeat it every day. Because when you control your habits, you control your future.